my name is Lisa Parisi Cullen. I hesitated because it's Parisi - Cullen.
Yeah.
I'm undecided on whether I'm taking that last name because I like my last name, Parisi. It's got a lot of history behind it. It's Samoan. And Cullen is just so basic.
Where's Cullen from? Your husband?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. No, my wife. Yes, my husband.
No, but that's what I mean. I wasn't sure, like...
Oh, right, yeah.
You know, was it double barrel that came with you?
No, it was married.
Was it
and
your mum's?
Yeah, I haven't legally changed it yet.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm just like, I like my last name and also fuck the patriarchy. Like...
We have a friend whose last name's Chancellor.
Yeah.
Miriam, she's awesome.
Yeah.
And her husband's last name's Taylor. And
Yeah.
she's like, way too basic.
Yeah.
My last name's Chancellor. I'm not fucking taking your last name.
Like,
I'm a gangster.
Lisa Cullen. Do I look like a Lisa Cullen to you?
No.
Thank
Cullens are
you.
usually
Like,
pale-
look at
pale white.
my skin color. So yeah, I have taken it on social media.
Yeah.
Not legally yet, but
Okay.
we're married. It's fine. I got a mum of two, so
Yep.
I got two kids. I have a lingerie business named
Yep.
Harper James, which is not as sexy as it sounds, but it's great.
It's awesome.
It is my baby, and then I do TikTok on the side
Yeah.
and content creation.
Cool. Awesome. Well, my first question that I want to know, because I only found out you have Harper James like 5 TikToks ago.
When I'm dancing around the internet on my undies, yeah.
So that's what, no, I actually found out you did a speak to camera about it.
Yeah.
And you said, I don't usually talk about this.
Yeah.
That's when I first found out that you did it. And then I was like, oh, do you guys, and everyone else knew.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to know is which came first?
Harper James.
Interesting.
So Harper James, like to launch a brand like garment, like fashion, a year of planning before it actually comes into fruition.
Yeah.
And I jumped on TikTok purely because I knew eventually I'd need to get onto TikTok for my own brand. And so I jumped on in a personal account just to like muck around with it, just see what happens. Did not expect like my personal brand to take off more than my actual brand.
And do you have an actual brand TikTok?
Yeah, I do.
Oh,
yeah.
fuck, I did not even know. I love this.
Yeah,
So
which-
Harper James?
Yeah.
That's great. I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Really
So
find
not
out these
as
things.
not as like
it's different, right?
pop saturated as like my personal one,
Yeah.
but it helps. Like definitely helps the crossover having both.
I would assume that like, so you get a lot of people coming from the main channel over here.
Yeah.
And I guess they're the all target audience for Harper James, right?
Yeah.
Because they'd
Yeah.
only come over if they loved
If
it.
they were interested. Yeah.
Otherwise, they're not going to come over. Like, I couldn't even find it. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm probably not that interested in lingerie. I don't buy a lot
Exactly.
of it for myself.
Yeah.
You can't. Doesn't quite fit my crack.
Yeah.
But, okay, that's cool. So that was first. So when did you start Harper James?
I launched, so I've only been going for 6 months.
Yeah.
Like that's launch.
Yeah.
August last year.
So 18 months planning, like 12 months planning,
about 12
6
months
launch.
before that is when I started it. Yeah.
Yeah. What caused that? Like, why?
Why do it? Yeah. So I had kids and like TMI, but like I've always had big boobs and I come from a big boob family.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
I look around, my mum, my aunties, my friends, you know, they just do it. They have big boobs. And I went from maternity bras back into wired, you know, the pretty bras that, you know, people wear. And I hated them.
Yeah.
They were so uncomfortable. And then I just had this idea, like I had an idea, went through the process of buying 1 million bras.
Yeah.
They didn't work for me. Plus, there was no brand in New Zealand that I could shop kind of locally. Everything was overseas, which came with overseas shipping, overseas taxes, blah, blah, blah. And then, I just had this lingering idea that wouldn't leave. You know?
Yeah.
And then the more I thought about it, the more I slowly started to just sketch it out, play around with the idea, the more things just started aligning as in, this is the direction you need to go in. Yeah. And so it was like, okay, pull the plug, like, let's do it.
So, did you have any experience in creating garments? No. You
No,
just
zero.
just
Nothing
figured
at
it
all.
out. I love that. That's the
YouTube,
best.
Google. Yeah.
Did you get help or just purely self-taught?
Yeah.
That's the best.
That's it.
I love that.
But I think, and that's what kind of triggered me actually being interested in it, is like, I have a very short attention span.
Yeah.
Nothing really fully interests me. But the fact that I was spending an hour, 2 hours at night on YouTube Googling this process, and I was just like so into it, it was kind of like a green light for me.
Yeah. Must be the thing to do, right? And then tell me about that process from like over that 12 months, like what did that look like? What are the main key milestones that you sort of had to do over that 12 months to bring it to life?
So it was market research, like talking to people about it, actually like kind of voicing it without saying this is what I'm going to do, and then my Google research, my YouTube research, and then the sketching. And I think the biggest milestone where I was like, okay, this is legit, was when I spent my first dollar on it, you know. And there weren't a lot of dollars, so like the minute I bought my first, because you have to design a tech pack, which I don't know how to do, so I had to hire someone to do it. That cost money. So the minute I hired him and I paid for him and his services, I was like, we're in.
And that's not cheap either, is it?
No.
Like, ballpark, what does that cost you?
I think that cost me about 3, almost 4 altogether.
And a lot of people don't think of that cost when they're getting into this stuff. They just think, I'll just make it.
I'll just do it. And I could have I definitely made a few mistakes that could have saved me money for sure. But I also didn't know what you didn't know. So
exactly. You saved money, but not by not going to fashion design school and spending 50 grand getting an education.
Exactly. And it was different for us because we a family and we have our savings and that was our safety net. That was our
huge.
So once I was like, hey husband, do you mind if I, and he had a lot of faith in me, but obviously he's human, so he had his reservations. So it was kind of I really had to back myself, and once that money was gone, I was like, this just got to work now.
And were you just stay-at-home mum at the time?
At the time,
so you weren't working, because you just had your second child?
Well, yes, and she was about maybe 2.
Okay, cool.
And it kind of, it also played into my lifestyle. I liked being at home for my youngest. I never got that with my first. With my first, we were poor, so we had to go straight back to work, you know? And so I was stay at home and I got to pick up my kids and drop them off and go to their school events and stuff like that. And I liked that balance. And so I was like, if I go back to full-time work, it's going to cost me more money. It's travel. I'm going to miss out on all these things. So that was I kind of want to do something from home, or at least do something. I know it's a lot of work, but at least I get control over my own time, because that's more important to me nowadays than a salary.
Absolutely. So you got to Tech Pack designed. How far in are we now in the months?
6.
6 months in. Okay. So
6 months selling.
No, sorry. I mean, into the 12-month development journey. How far in by the time you got Tech Pack?
Probably 4.
Oh, yeah. Cool. So about a third of the way. And then so from that, what was the next steps?
Manufacturer. Samples.
Where are they manufactured?
Overseas in China.
Cool.
Great little factory, because that's where everything's made. Right? Everything is made there. And I did.
Everything.
I did look at here, but for the infrastructure, China's just got the factory set up. They've got everything there. So, and they have some great factories over there.
I love it when people are like, oh yeah, it's awesome in China. It's like, bro, you're watching this on the iPhone that's made there, so shut the fuck up.
Everything. Half of 90% of what you're wearing is China, but there is that stigma to it. But there are actually great factories over in China, overseas, because that's what they specialize in.
That's what they do.
That's what they do.
It's a massive job
We
to
have
try
sheep,
to beat them.
and they have manufacturers.
Fuck. It's good. I'm all for it. I mean, the fucking phone holder I gave you straight out of China.
Exactly. And it does the job.
Does it?
So
cool.
I found a great manufacturer.
Awesome. Trial and error. How did you do that? That's a pretty interesting thing to go through.
Internet, Alibaba, lots of back and forth. We've previously had experience with that because we had a business. Me and my husband had a business before. He was a real sneakerhead. So we kind of imported these sneaker boxes for the sneaker community. Cool. And then once we shifted to rural, we couldn't run it. So all the profit that we made from that is what was our savings, you know what I mean? And so, leveraged that. So we had experience with it.
Because it's not an easy process to go through, right?
No. And the scariest thing is when you're okay, you get your samples and then you've got to go into bulk order and that's $10,000 leaving your account.
Because they don't do consignment or nothing like that.
No, not when you're first time. Pay half now.
Even I know guys who order heaps and they still aren't getting consignment.
Yeah.
Because like China just doesn't really trust, because everyone they buy.
Which is funny because like we're like, there's our trust too. Like, but I think once you find a good one,
make
you're
a partnership.
in. Yeah.
Fine. Yeah. Okay. So you got manufacturing. Now, by the time you got the first like final product from China, how long did that take? From the 4 month of Tech Pack to where were we?
Probably like from Tech Packs to actually like having the guts to like pull the plug and spend and make the full order. Probably another 6.
Yeah. Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then production, then here, and then launch.
Yeah.
So that last bit was real quick.
Yeah. The last bit was real quick. I could have done it quicker, but like first time round, my fear is what was like you know.
Yeah.
I would like see emails from my supplier and I'm like, not right now.
Yeah.
Which was so bad, but I was like, I'm scared, you know?
Yeah. What was the fear?
Like anyone, when you start something new, it's like, is it going to work? Is it worth it? Am I really going to spend this much money? Yeah. Like, especially like when you have family and it's technically not just your money.
Yeah.
But then like in hindsight, the way I think about it is like, money's money and it circulates and it will come back. And I always had this thought, I'm like, McDonald's is always hiring.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm like, if I have to go and get a job, that's what I'll do.
So
like,
good.
It's not the end of the world if I lose all that money. It sucks.
Yeah.
You
just
know?
get it back, right?
Yeah, you'll get it back. Yeah.
I like to say that too. Like money's actually like one of the easiest things to get, except people are too lazy to go get it. Often.
Yeah.
Like they don't want to do the shit.
Yeah.
They don't want to put in the work doing the hard stuff to get to the place that they need to be able to do Papa James, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do think, I'm like, McDonald's, they're always hiring.
I say countdown's always need shelves stacked.
Yeah.
Same thing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You can always do it. Hotels right now are crying for workers and they're paying like stupid money at the moment because they can't find people.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, it's still minimum wage sort of level work, but if you need work, it's work there.
Yeah. And you can always go out and make more money if you have to. Yeah.
So we've manufactured, got the final sample, the final product in your hand. There's about a month or so, whatever, left before you launch. What was that like launching? Like, how did you do it? What was the strategy? Did you have a strategy? What was the plan?
Asking me if I had a strategy. My God. No, there was like a slight strategy, but it was like build the hype on Instagram, you know, get it out there as much as possible. It was really scary putting it on my personal TikTok as well, because I'm like, that's a lot of people that are going to know about it. And like, because it's a physical product and you pour like so much of your pretty much heart and soul into it, you want people to like it. It's that fear of like, shit, what if they all come back and say it's shit? Yeah. You know? It's bad quality, it doesn't work, I've done something wrong. So, but I just launched it and I was like, we'll just have to see what happens.
Where was your personal brand at that point?
I think when I launched it, probably around 200 and something.
Okay. Yeah. So 6 months ago, about 200 and something. And the Harper James, did you just start it at that point?
I hadn't even started it at that point. Yeah.
Just Instagram.
Yeah.
On Harper James.
Yeah.
And where did the sales come from? Did they come from you or did they come from activities?
Yeah, they came mainly from Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah, like our own personal, because at the start I did try to segregate the two because I wanted Harper James to stand out on its own. I didn't want people to buy it just because it's from me.
Yeah.
It sounds so up myself, but like, you know, if you're someone that you like, you're like, oh, I just want to buy it because she made it and support it, but I actually just wanted it to stand out on its own at first. But nowadays I know, like I can see the value of my own personal brand crossing over with my business brand. Yeah.
What was that? Why did you have that thought about I want it to be separate to me? I don't want people to buy it. What was that going through?
In case it was shit.
Like damage your brand. Really?
Or like I don't know. It was like.
Why did you think it could be shit? Is that just like
natural natural instinct.
Real, so
and just like not backing myself. Yeah.
Is that just like, you know, classic humans being human?
Yeah.
It wasn't anything like...
Nah.
You did, like, because that's funny, eh?
It's funny because, like, I looked at it and I'm like, this is a great product. And everyone I, like, tried it on, they loved it. Like, but then I was also like, well, you're just saying it because you're my friend.
Yeah. You know what's funny? We just had a conversation before we were outside. So you know when we're standing around the kitchen and then Nate came and joined us? So Nate was just talking to a client of ours who was getting feedback from people. When you ask for feedback, you're more likely to get negative stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what we were talking them through. That once you let the market see it, if you get negative talk from your friend, that doesn't mean anything once you let the market talk. So if you're getting positive stuff from your friends, then it's only going to kill live. It's like it's a weird hack because we often get positive feedback from friends and think, or loved ones and say, oh yeah, but they're just loved ones.
Yeah.
But actually they're way more likely to criticize us.
Yeah. And I did actually find that my friends were gassing me up and I was like, are you just gassing me up because you're my friends?
Yeah.
And my friend, like my best friends were just like, if you were shit, we would tell you. We have no problem hurting your feelings. What are you talking about? You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's it, eh? It's weird though because it's not normal to think that, eh? Like most people think, no, you're my mate, so I can't really tell you that. Real people probably
But if you've got that real circle around you who are just like, I don't care about hurting your feelings.
No.
Like,
nah. I'm the same, like, because I'm one of 4 boys.
Yeah.
So we do not care about taking the piss out of each other. So if I ever want some honest advice, you just go talk to them and they'll bring you back down to earth real fast.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so you launched, when you started the Harbour James through the Instagram stuff, how did that go initially? When you first launched?
Really good, actually. Cool. It was like a boom.
Yeah.
So awesome. I was like expecting a few sales to kind of slowly trickle in, but the minute I launched it was like boom, and I was packing up until like 2 a.m, which was like great. And I knew that moment, I somewhat knew that momentum, I thought it could happen. Didn't actually expect it would happen. But when it did, that was great. Like, it was fantastic, great confidence boost. And then I sat there and I waited for 4 or 5 days because I'd sent them all out. I'm like, this is the test. Like, I looked at my emails. I'm like, looked at the reviews, and I'm just like, this is when you actually know if it's a good thing or not.
And all positive.
For the most part. And it's actually, like, I've just loved it so far.
That's cool way. Tell me about that launch strategy a little bit more, because mainly for people watching, because I think if someone's watching this and they're naive to it, there's stuff that you've taken for granted because you just know. But when people will be like, oh, I created a product, I built it, and then they shall come, right? That whole mentality, but that's not right.
Not always the case.
So with you, when you launch, you had the Instagram, you had the personal one. How much did you put on the personal one?
Not a lot.
But you put some.
Some.
And then the rest was Instagram.
And
with the Instagram, was it all organic, or was there paid stuff too?
No, it was all organic.
What was the follow count and viewership on that?
I can't remember off the top of my head, but
was it okay in terms of numbers?
Yeah, it's okay. So it was around 3,000 or 4,000 to begin with. And now we're sitting around 7, creeping up to 8.
And where did the followers come from originally? So let's take us back. So when you launched, let's say day 1 of selling, how long had the Instagram been alive?
Oh, probably like a month.
Okay, cool. So you did pre-launch hype.
And then when I did the photo shoots and the behind the scenes, it did pre-hype it up. And then I did mention it across my TikToks and my personal socials. Because I've also got my personal Instagram as well. So I pushed it there as well.
Cool.
And the interesting thing is even though I had that boom when I first launched, I also knew that wasn't going to last. Once that boom is gone, I've now got that's when the real marketing comes in. That's when the actual work happens.
Because it's that you're not selling a product that people buy daily.
No.
It's not a cup of coffee.
It's almost like a one-off, and if they like you, they keep coming back and stuff like that, but it's not a repeat.
No.
There's only so many pairs of undies you need.
Exactly. Right. And if they're good quality, you shouldn't need a lot.
Exactly. I really cornered myself because they are really good quality, people were like, no, this is going to last me forever. I'm like, damn it.
Yeah, we made t-shirts in London when I was there. Me and my brother, we started up a little clothing line, and this is going back a long time now, and they were such good quality t-shirts that it's been 2012, so it's been 11 years since we did it. And everyone I know who still has them, they're still perfect. There's nothing wrong. They haven't gone out of shape. They're not holes in them.
Yeah.
They're the original American Apparel tees, which were just like outrageous.
Yeah.
It almost ruined their business, I guess, because they were such good quality. Like, I've still got all of them.
Yeah.
None of them are damaged.
Yeah.
So like, you don't rebuy them.
And because you've had businesses before, do you feel like all those businesses like led you to this point, like where you are now?
Oh, for sure. Like, you learn a lot from them.
Yeah.
I was fortunate that I got to watch Dad fuck up a lot in business, like the one I told you about before, but that's one of 3 times he's fucked up.
Yeah.
But look, he didn't fuck up because he was shit. He fucked up because he tried, you know, and that's like, there's a difference. Like, for a long time, I thought he was useless.
Yeah.
That's one of our cameras turning off. All right, we'll just pretend that never happened. Fucking behind the scenes. Dad tried, and for a long time, I thought he was useless and whatever. But then I sort of realized that, like, actually, he gave a shit and tried.
Yeah.
And then that's sort of where I'm at now. Like, just try shit. Just get a good accountant so you don't fuck up. But I learned all that. So I learned that from him. And then I, throughout my whole life, I always was like, you know, like, I tried to do lemonade stands. And I remember like trying to sell this like Coca-Cola thing that I made with sherbet in it and shit. You know, I tried dumb stuff like that, right? I used to do like a paper run for Mum and Dad when they were real estate agents. I did like a lawn mowing business for a little bit when I was like 17.
Yeah.
So I did all this.
So you were in that headspace, like coming into adulthood, really.
But then Dad screwed up big the last time, which scared me out of entrepreneurship. So I went into a hospitality career.
Okay.
But what was good about hospitality career is then I spent 12 years learning business, being paid by someone else. And so I ended up becoming like Mr. Fix-It in hotels, and they would send me into hotels or restaurants or whatever to fix them that were not going well. And I learned business that way. Wow. And so I finished as like general manager of hotels. Yeah. And so, you know, I was running like $15-20 million operations.
Yeah.
And so I knew business, like I knew it I'd just done it my whole life. It was at that end point where I was in India actually for a wedding.
Yep.
And my bosses were emailing me. It's the first time I'd taken annual leave for 2.5 years. Yeah. And they were emailing me going, where the hell are you? Like, the place is falling apart. But the hotel had profits in January. That January I was away, larger than any other January's revenue. So it was making more money in profit than it had ever done just in revenue years before. So that there was like, I was just like, I can't do a good enough job for other people. Yeah. You know? Yeah. Nothing will be good enough. Yeah. So it was at that point in India, in Jaipur, me and Claire looked at each other and I showed her the email. I was like, we're going to quit. Yeah. We're going to go off and do our own shit. Yeah. She was like, what are we going to do? I was like, fuck, who knows? Yeah. The next day, my brother sends out an email to all of us going, hey, me and Kaz are going to start our own mortgage advising business. Yeah. We're going to go on our own. And if anyone wants to do it, let us know. And so we're like, fuck, how good is that timing? We're like, yeah, that might be a ticket out. Anyway, that led to a whole series of things. 9 months later, we ended up in New Zealand. Claire tried her hand at mortgage advising, hated it. Yeah. And I started this. Yeah. And then about 8 months in, I was like, Claire, quit. Like, you hate it. This is now going to take off. Yeah. Come and jump in. So all those little business and all that period all taught me how to do business. Yeah. But I didn't know. Yeah. That was the thing. Like, I didn't realize what I knew. Yeah. Until it all clicks into place and you're like, that's why I was in that shit job for until I started speaking to other people. Yeah. You know how many business owners, no, it doesn't even small business owners, who just know nothing about business. Yeah. Like, it's just, it's normal. It's not even their shit. Like, it's just the norm that most people haven't run massive businesses or big businesses, and that's fine. But then what it taught me is like, oh, well, then there's something I can help with. Yeah. And then one thing led to another.
Well, hello, I didn't know about tax. Right?
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah, you didn't know about capital in nature.
I was like, oh my God, asset? What is that?
Yeah. and that's something I learned even still, because in hotels you don't have to worry about that so much because you have a financial controller and they'll do it. But yeah, there's just stuff we don't know about business that we take for granted all the time. Yeah. And that's why I'm digging so much on the launch strategy because like I know so many people who have built brands. They've gone out, spent all the money. Like we got Connor out there who's just built a brand. and he's about to launch. And
Yeah.
I'm like, where's the launch strategy? Like,
Yeah.
you need something to go big on. You've got a brand, but your brand won't do it on its own. Like,
Yeah.
you need a plan to go live
Yeah.
with, to get, especially get you that psychologically, that first step, right? Like, how important was it to get that boom at the start?
Oh, like that was a confidence, like I'm on the right path. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was hyping it up on Instagram and on TikTok, first and foremost, and just creating. Also, I kind of created with a few other business relationships as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
Smart.
So once I launched, and then I hyped it up to the point where like I had things like a timer on the website.
Yeah.
I'd grown my email list. That was huge. So I had about before launch, I had about 3,500 on my email list, which was like enough to start. And so, it was really about hyping it up, sending those little, emails, putting it in people's heads, the little psychology things.
Yep. How did you get the email list to 3,500? That's not easy.
Instagram. Yeah.
Just asking people to sign up. Or
So I had like a landing page, a link on the landing page, chuck your email in, and I was like teasing it as well. And then also on my personal TikTok, like that was a real help.
Yeah.
But I leant more into Instagram and landing page and email list.
How did you go for your personal brand? You're about 250 or so DCA when you launched. How long did it take you to get to that point?
I started in March last year, so it hasn't been a year yet.
Yeah. So it was about 4 or 5 months getting to 250.
Yeah.
And then boom.
Yeah.
So when you started it, what was how did you play that out? Like the style that you do that you're now famous for, was that just up front? Because I don't know your original content. So was that just where you started? Or?
It's that style pretty much. It did start early on, but it wasn't what I did out the gate. So I started posting because I got married in Queenstown, and it was just an elopement, and it was something exciting to do. I was like, I'm finally doing something exciting. And I had 0 followers. So I just vlogged day 1, day 2, day 3. And same way everyone else did it, you know. I was like, we're in Queenstown, happy as.
Yeah.
And I got home and I was like, no, there's nothing. Like, I'm going to go do my grocery shopping.
That's so funny.
And it's like, I don't know if you know who Anna Paul is. Yeah. So she's great. I love her. But her visual content is exciting. She's loaded. She's gorgeous. She travels a lot. And then coupled with her bubbly, amazing personality, it's a winning combination for her. Not me. Like the absolute polar opposite. Drop off kids, coffee, grocery shopping, clean the house, dinner. That's what it is. And I felt like I was so what ended up happening was I didn't really have the personality to stay upbeat the whole time. Because my husband was like, shut up, that is not you. Because I'd be like, hi guys, I'm having a coffee, the sun is shining. And he'd be like, shut the fuck up.
That's so good. I love it. See, your loved ones give you the best feedback.
Yeah, exactly. And so I was like, you know what, people don't want to see, people don't want me to narrate what I'm already doing. Good morning, guys. I had a cup of coffee, went and got my groceries, they can see that. So that's when I was like, oh, well, I'll just do it how I want to do it, how my head works and how my inner monologue works. And it came so easily, that's the thing. And that's why I started to enjoy it more, because it was it just flowed, it was easily, and then click post, done.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's so good.
My first one was me hanging up a picture frame. Just hang in my bathroom. And I did it because I knew my husband would get angry because he's a builder, and he's when he hangs stuff up, he's measuring tape, stud finder, accuracy, and I'm just with my pen in my glass cup, bang, 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 and all the things.
I haven't seen that one. I haven't watched it.
But it was that was ages ago, and then that's when the relatability clicked in, because people were like, oh my God, I do that. Oh my God, my husband is like that. And it was just the little thing.
Finding your tribe, right? Finding that community who gets you. I love that. That's
and I'm
so
just
good.
that's not an interesting topic, but you can make it funny.
Exactly. If you can relate to something, right? And it changes everything. So, okay, so now you've got Harper James is launched. Are you comfortable sharing like what that boom was like? Like what in terms of like numbers of sales or whatever?
Oh, for me, my boom was like 50.
Yeah,
like in one night.
In one
like
night.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, like me thinking 3, 4, 5 would be amazing. But 50 straight out the gate.
So I think that's real interesting to know because I think like a lot of young people go, oh, I only did 50 sales. 50 sales on day one, fucking cracker.
And and I have that same problem too sometimes, is comparing yourself to bigger. And there are like other brands in New Zealand who, when they launch, they go off in a boom. You know what I mean? And like even Instagram followers, it's hard to like look at other companies who are launching and they've got like 20,000 followers already. And I'm happy with my 7. But at the same time, I'm like, I honestly feel like everyone's journey is very different.
100%.
And I think I've had this conversation before. I think when you hear stories about entrepreneurship and it's like success overnight, it gets drilled into you without realizing that 90% of businesses are a long slog.
Oh.
Like
there is very few businesses who blew up overnight. The whole thing is like an overnight success and it takes 10 years.
Exactly. And it's like the reason those people get written about in magazines and media is because that's exciting. Like everyone loves hearing a success story where like they made $1 million in the first month. No one wants to hear you made $2,000 in the first 2 months.
But none of them have done it. No, it's not true. You go try find an example of it. It's not true. So what you'll find is that there was something beforehand. So either they had a big personal brand maybe, right? And you just didn't really notice it because 1 million followers is big to launch something, but that's still almost 8 billion people who don't know you, right? So it's not that big. And so you go try actually find an overnight success story. There's very little. Or they might have a bunch of cash to pay for distribution. Well, that's not overnight success. You went and slogged away at work to earn all that money to save it up to put $100,000 into a launch strategy or $1 million into a launch strategy. So there is no such thing as overnight success.
Exactly. And there are a few people that I like genuinely quite look up to. And like one of my friends, she doesn't know this, but like she's great. She owns that Moustache cookie bar.
Oh yeah.
She's done it for 10 years. And she goes in she's done it for 10 years and she's obviously got the #1 cookie brand in the whole country. And that was just slogging it out.
Put in the work, right?
It's not overnight.
Time and market. It's exponential growth.
And even she had her trials and tribulations. Like when she first launched, it was like she got kicked out of her shop and rent was too high and all that stuff. But 10 years later, and she's still doing what she loves. That's kind of what I want to do. Like as much as money is important, which it is, and I do want to grow it and I do want it to be bigger than me, I still want to be like 10 years from now still doing it, still loving it.
So that's the long-term goal. Harper James is a like ongoing business that continues. And just lingerie, is there growth in that? Or
there is growth in it, because it's like, yes, lingerie, but it could branch out to anything, you know, sleepwear, sportswear. I would prefer to stay in this avenue and I'd only really go where the customers are and where my brand felt like it fit. But definitely growth.
I think a lot of people, one thing I see a lot of is they will add other products and it dilutes the brand. You better just make another brand.
I think I feel more comfortable sticking to what I know for a long period of time. And like when it naturally happens and we naturally start branching off, let it be.
But like just have another brand built. Like it's like LVMH, right? Like they just buy other brands to do other shit. Like Louis Vuitton's not going to start making diamond rings. They just bought Tiffany and Co. You know what I mean? Like they're a different scale, but like same thing. Like if you decided, I want to make dresses or something, I don't know, jeans or whatever. Don't just make a Harper James one. Just make a whole new brand.
Exactly. Because I think your brand needs to be like, you know, known for one thing.
100%.
And so I'm like, I want to be known for wireless lingerie. Like,
exactly.
That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, so long-term goal. I'm going to start wrapping this up because it's already 12 o'clock and I'm hungry. But what I want to know is like, so is about the long-term goals. Like, what is the plan now? Like, where are you now? Where do you take it next step? Do you have a plan? Are you just rolling through the punches?
Look, I'm going to be honest, all right? I'm rolling through the punches. Like, for the first 12 months, I'm finding my feet, making my plan, making mistakes too. Like, really, because when it comes to being in the industry itself, I don't know what I'm doing.
This way, though.
Exactly. So that's how I think about, like, the first 12 years is about growing it, but finding my feet, making those mistakes, maybe when year 2 rolls around, like, don't get me wrong, I've got plans this year, but like when year 2 rolls around and I've got my foundation and I've learnt my lessons, then I can
What does that look like?
That looks like I would love to have a warehouse.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Have a warehouse, have a small team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For fulfillment. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, how do you currently fulfill just at home?
Yes.
You don't outsource any of that?
No, I can't afford to.
Why can't you afford to?
Because I don't know.
Have you looked at like 3PL services and stuff?
No, I haven't.
There's a client of ours, DNA First Solutions. I'll give them a shout out. They're cool.
Okay.
They Nguyen family. They own a warehousing in Onehunga, and they use at-risk youth in the warehouse who couldn't get a job otherwise.
Okay.
Teach them skills so that they can get a CV to go get forklift licenses and stuff.
Yeah.
They do 3PL services.
Yeah.
And they mostly do it in the beauty industry because that's just where their history comes from. But like, it's not expensive. Like,
it's not?
They will store all your shit on their warehouse.
Yeah.
And when an order comes in, they'll pick it, pack it, and send it.
Yeah. Yeah, I have definitely, that's something like in my mind for sure, because I've come across those services before. And I'm like, because the last business as well offered that same service. And I think at the moment, it's, even though I'm packing my orders, I'm still like understanding my customer. Like I'm like realizing, I'm packing like so many 2XLs in a day, And so it's like, at the moment, it's like you're wearing so many hats, but it's kind of like I need to learn these things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. You got to do the grunt work.
Exactly.
It's more about like year 2 plans.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like, you should talk to these. The reason I always shout these guys out is because like they are a small business trying to do good things.
Yeah.
So they don't charge crazy prices.
Yeah.
They probably should increase their prices, but they don't need to. They've got that's only one part of their bigger business.
Yeah.
But it's also one of those things that like why I tell like outsource as much as possible. Like I was saying before, even the bookkeeping that we talked about earlier is like, what are you really the best at?
Yeah.
Like, are you really the best person to be packing your stuff? I get what you're saying. But I think it's important because you understand.
Yeah.
Like I watch, I read a lot of posts on LinkedIn. I watch a lot of TikTok and stuff. So I understand the world we play in.
Yeah.
But more and more, what I'm trying to teach is the guys to do that. Like, so like Joni is an example. Joni's fucking awesome on TikTok.
Yeah.
But like doesn't spend any time on it.
Yeah.
Like does not understand the culture of it half the time. Like I show shit, she's like, who's that? I'm like, he's got 7 million followers.
That's me.
Yeah, no.
Sometimes that's me. Like
not.
People will, be like, oh, do you? I don't know who that is.
No, don't know who that is.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. So I spend a lot of time doing that, but I have to teach the guys too. Because like for Joni as an example, she wants to become a real strategist in the space. She has to know the platform inside out.
Yeah.
You have to screw up your algorithm to watch all sorts of stuff so you don't get fed the same crap. But anyway, my point is that like that when you get into that year 2, I think you're doing the right thing in year 1. I love a lot of people don't do that right. They don't get in their hands in and get to know it.
Like year 1 for me is like, I know it's not going to be a profit year for me. I know that much, but like it is about like, making the mistakes, growing, learning the basics. Yeah. And then year 2, year 3 will start like,
And so what is that? So goal wise, what are your goals? Like if we just say you get through year 1, we do what we do. Year 2, by the end of year 2, what are some goals for that? Like, and be as specific as possible.
Yeah, I really want to be stocked in stores here and overseas, like very selectively as well.
Yep.
I want to, as you say, be a bit more hands off with the like packing of the orders, so I can focus on like product development and running a team.
Sweet.
Yeah, and then because I find, it's like my time is more important. So like having that family balance as well. Yeah.
And have you ever thought about like, first of all, is the enjoyment of it the growth of it, the building of it, or it providing the lifestyle for you and your family?
Both.
Yeah. So you
definitely
want
both.
So it's not necessarily about making stupid amounts of money.
No.
It's just about like actually enjoying that you're doing this thing.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So, and I know like I don't enjoy every single aspect of it, but if I like compare what I'm doing now to like my last corporate job, which I loved the people, don't get me wrong, they were amazing, but like I'd rather have the downsides of my business than go back to what I was doing before.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so one thing I always say, because I'm assuming then like investment and scale is probably not a big thing on the cards for you to like?
Not at the minute, but I would.
Is something in the future?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think the reason I like hesitate with that is because it's a new realm for me. I can risk my own money. Like I have no problem risking my own money, but when other people come into the equation, it's like, okay,
it's good when
other people to perform for.
What's good when you risk other people's money is that you don't lose. They do.
True.
Yeah, it's way better.
You know what? I don't like people being angry at me.
They can't do anything about it. It's investment. It's not loan.
Okay. Yeah.
It's investment, right?
Yeah.
Like they take a risk investing in you. Yeah, look, they're going to try to tell you to do something. And if you act negligent, you can get sued.
Yeah.
You're not going to act negligent. But if it all crumbles down, that's their money lost.
Yeah.
That's why like the startup world's so big, because all these startup founders are like, I'm actually trying here.
Yeah.
But if I fail, that's your problem, not mine.
Yeah.
You gave me the $2 million, like not me.
That's a different mindset I didn't even think about, to be honest.
I didn't used to, because I didn't understand the world, because I came from hotels. It's not the same there.
Yeah.
But I've since learned it through clients and experience, and that's the best way to think about it. It's like, you took a risk on me, you saw something in me.
Yeah.
You know it's an investment, you know it's a risk.
Man, that's a huge mindset shift, to be honest. Like, because the way I like was obviously brought up, like immigrant family, Samoan family, was like, you always pay your way. Always. So like, you never ask for handouts, you never get anything for free. You always have to work for something. So to be like, to have people like be like, oh, here's a lot of money for you, for your business. I'm like, no thanks.
Because you know what you think you're selling? You think you're selling lingerie.
Yeah.
But you're selling brand and you're selling a community. Yeah, absolutely. That's what you're really selling.
Yeah, and that's such a huge focus. Like, and that's why when I talk about my business, I'm like, even in the language that I use in my company, it's always repeating the name, repeating like the branding.
Yeah, brand's so important, eh? Yeah, because that's what your differentiating factor is. Okay, so in terms of growth, the long-term goals, is it just about like, do you have a cap to where you want that to be, or you just want it to be the biggest brand ever?
Naturally, I want it to be the biggest brand ever. Like, naturally, I want it to go beyond New Zealand.
You know what's funny? Because you say naturally, but it's not natural.
I know.
Like, you're one of the only young, like not young, like, but like, not that you're not young, but the smaller businesses, young in business, like that I meet. That's like, oh, naturally I want it to be the biggest. Like, that's not, I love hearing that because it's not natural.
Well, because I know a lot of people talk about small business, and it's great. Like, it is great, and it's its own niche in itself, and it definitely has its benefits in terms of like growing your audience, because people love buying from a small business. But I'm small now, but a part of me doesn't use that language because I don't want to be small forever. Like, not that I want to be like, I mean, I'd love to be Skims, but not, you know.
Not that you need to.
Not that I need to be Skims. I would like that. I would like to get as close as possible. Yeah.
There's no reason you can't. There's no reason like I use the Kardashians all the time as examples, because everyone's like, oh,
aren't they great examples?
Oh, they're the fucking best. But everyone's like, oh, they're the Kardashians. And it's like, yeah, but like 20 years ago, they weren't the Kardashians. Fuck, fine. Their dad was a successful lawyer.
Yeah, and they had money.
And they had money, had a leg up. But they also didn't have 330,000 followers from day, not even 12 months in.
They made an intentional decision to be branded that way. And like, hate them or love them, it's like,
they're fucking genius.
Yeah, they monetized
Chris is
every single one of her kids.
She is the best. I love it.
Yeah.
I don't want kids, but I would just to do that. And I think that's why Claire doesn't
just
want to
push
have them.
Oh,
just to live vicariously through them and turn them into the biggest products ever. I've got no, like, only one of my brothers has kids. And he, like, they won't put their kids on social media at all. And I was like, I don't want kids, but I was like, if I ever have kids, they're going to be products. Like, I'm going to sell the shit out of these kids.
And they're going to make your retirement.
Fucking
I make those jokes in my vlogs, and part of me is like, I'm not joking, because who else is going to look after me?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love that. It's so good. Okay, so biggest brand in the world. What's next to make that biggest brand in the world? How do you do that? Have you thought about that? Like,
no, I haven't.
It's just natural, organic,
steady
growth.
Yeah, exactly.
And that is the best.
Yeah, it's like I do want to like organically grow it, and then eventually start pushing my comfort zone. Yeah. Because like me on the internet with my tits out. Yeah. That's not comfortable, but it made me money. Not in that way, but you know what I mean. Yes, girl. that got me sales.
Yeah.
And that was an outer comfort zone. And something as little as like posting about it, and like I was so self-conscious what my friends would think, what my family would think, what the people around me think. But to be honest, TikTok really taught me to not care.
Yeah, not good.
Yeah.
It's no point, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Because you've got to do it for your own personal gain and your own personal growth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I really love about this conversation today is that like your mindset is 100% on track in the way I think, which is like long, slow build to be the biggest brand in the world.
Yeah.
And I think what a lot of people who will watch this, especially when we put on TikTok, because of the age of the audience, is they will think they will want things overnight. They will want stuff real fast.
Yeah.
They'll like do something for a month and be like, oh, this is shit.
Yeah.
Let me do something else.
And don't get me wrong, I was like that too.
Yeah.
And I would like, in hindsight, as much as I would have loved to like blow on up overnight, that would have broken me. Like, imagine getting thousands of orders in one night and I'm packing in my garage. Like, that's ridiculous.
You can't.
So I think at the rate that it's going and me just like pushing it ever so slightly every single time, it's enough for me. It's enough of a mouthful for me.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Just take it as it comes. And like too much success kills businesses.
Yeah.
It's the same as too much revenues is just as bad as not enough revenue.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to find that sweet spot and you got to do it over a longer period of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. That's really good because like it's not. How old are you? Do you mind me asking?
33.
Yeah. So it's not something.
Actually, no, I'm 33 in July, sorry.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm 32. Yeah.
Cool. 32.
Put it in writing.
But like it is something I think that you start to learn like as you age a little bit, you know, like I definitely, when I was in my early 20s, like when I did the t-shirt brand, I was like, why the fuck haven't I had 10,000 sales? This is amazing. Like, why isn't everyone buying my shit?
Yeah.
And then as I aged, I started to realize, and what was really good about starting this business when I did is I learned all that. I was 33 when I started the business, 32, 33.
Wait, how old are you now?
36.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'm not 42 like fucking somebody says. So we're pretty much the same age. Well,
not technically, you're 4 years older, but yeah.
But yeah, like when I started this, I was good because I was probably same age as you when you started your business.
Yeah.
And I had learned all those lessons, and I realized that like play the long game.
Yeah.
So we had said, if we don't make $1 for the first 2 years, or if we make our first dollar in 2 years' time, so in 2021 October 4th, if we can make $1, we crushed it.
Yeah.
By that stage, we were 7 staff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like completely blew everything out of the water.
Yeah.
But it was the mindset of not needing to make any money that made us get there, because we didn't make any decisions to make money fast. Like we said, nah, don't need it. Don't want this easy money.
Yeah.
Let's do the thing, stick to it, follow the process, follow the brand, build the brand properly.
Yeah.
And we'll reap it, which is like what's turned in us to having our TikTok to where it is and the LinkedIn to where it is and all the brand where we got it, is that we just like stuck the course, held strong on the brand.
Yeah. And that's, I think, when, especially if you are young going into business, when you chase like the figures and you're only chasing the figures, it's so quickly, like you'll so quickly be discouraged and lose the passion and lose the motivation.
It takes so long.
It takes so long.
We started the business 4th of October 2019.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
May 11th, I got my first check.
Yeah.
That's how long.
Yeah.
Like I had no money.
May 11th this year?
No. May 11th, 2020.
Okay, yeah.
So what was that?
Oh my god, the attention seeking.
6 months.
That's so good.
6 months.
Paralysis balance.
Get behind the screen. Knows how to push my
She's
buttons.
your employee, not mine.
Not after today.
Yeah.
But yeah, like so what was that? 6 months, I suppose, something like that. That we made our actual first dollar.
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember like that coming in and how awesome that was. But then it did take off. It's still built slow though. Like it's exponential growth. Like we've doubled and a bit revenue every year since we've been in business.
But it's the growth that you can handle. Yeah.
That's it. Oh, look, and just.
Yeah.
Like you ask the team and they'll be like, we're growing too fast. We're growing
Make it
too
stop.
fast.
Yeah.
Stan, this is too much. Can we just chill for a bit? But the other reason why continuous growth, and why it's good to hear you you want the growth. Is that if you don't have continuous growth, you will die.
Yeah.
In today's world.
And that's the thing. I want it to be a long-term thing. I don't want it to be a flash in the pan and just like move on to the next. Like the way I'm feeling, like sure, I might change my mind and sell it in 5 years' time, but like the way I'm feeling is like this is my next 10 years. Yeah. And so that growth needs to spread out over that period.
It's one of those, like a brand like yours, what's really cool about it is that like if you do it right, which you are because you're doing the brand right, if you do the brand right, there'll be a point in time. It might be 3 years, it might be 5 years, it might be 10, but you'll 20x revenue. Like it'll just flow.
Yeah.
Because something will catch and it'll take off because that's how these brands work.
Yeah.
It's like the guys in your agency who just did 50 million beer sales.
Oh, the uninspired? Yeah.
Like that was just nothing and then boom.
That's what happens. Yeah, it's nothing for ages, but that nothing is your learning period. That nothing is your growth period. And then it's boom.
Exactly.
Which I'm like, and then by the time you get to that boom, you're ready for it.
Yeah.
You know.
You just need it, and then you just get the right people around you to do all the shit you don't want to do.
Yeah. And I also believe like everything's timing.
Yeah.
Like sounds corny, but like everything does happen for a reason at the time that it happens. Yeah.
Love it. Well, I'm so glad that I brought on someone who's closer to my age. Yes, you're still younger. But because I think it's important because I talk to so many young people.
What's a young person to you?
Like 21,
Oh,
22.
Those 22-year-olds. Oh my God.
Acts like 20.
Yeah,
19,
and they're
like 19
crying over
bullshit.
gosh.
Oh, can you honestly? Friday
Do you know how many
afternoons in this
jobs
office?
like I've had before TikTok, and I'm like, this is a piece of piss.
Yeah.
Like,
I know.
I've worked corporate, I've worked hospitality, warehousing. I've literally worked since I was 16.
Do you know how many times I'm consoling these girls on a Friday afternoon because they're all crying because their life's so shit?
And I'm like,
It's like, bitch, you get paid to make
welcome
TikToks,
to your
shut the fuck up.
20s. Yeah.
Go get it. Just go get on the booze.
To be
and
fair,
fucking party.
in my 20s, I cried a lot too.
Yeah.
At my corporate job, and I had like the 50-year-olds like, oh, this bitch, like, what is she crying about? Your problems are real now, but 10 years from now,
they're nothing.
embarrassing.
And I was a man, so I don't cry, I just drink. And that's why I don't drink now. I just drink heaps in my 20s.
Oh, my husband was the same. Just like
Boys aren't allowed
sad
to cry.
drink.
Yeah.
Sad drink.
Yeah. When
And he'd be like, you're so emotional. I'm like, didn't you punch the wall last week?
that is the best.
Is that not emotion?
I'm going to wrap this up here in my last story, but I gave up drinking in 2017, and about 6 weeks into it, I was in the car with Claire, and I started crying. And she's like, what are you crying about? I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And she's like, why are you crying? I was like, I fucking know. She's like, I was like, what is this? Why am I crying? She's like, I think it's just you not numbing all your emotions with
And
fucking
you
booze.
being sad.
Yeah, this is just something's happening here. You just need to pull over and let it happen.
You know what's funny? Everyone I've spoken to that's in their like 30s, mid 30s, they're all like, I've cut alcohol.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
Like, and everyone's like around me, like, well, actually not my friends, but like I've pulled back actually a little bit on it. But that's more gut issues than mental issues.
But were you a heavy drinker?
No, I've actually never been a heavy drinker.
No.
I didn't drink like in my teenage years. Went hard in my 20s.
Yes.
Yeah,
Should.
as you should.
Yeah,
but
rite of passage.
Yeah, and then I always say, so the only reason I started like getting into wine is my second daughter. She was so hard, and she still is so hard. And then I did start heavily leaning into that wino mum, it's my biggest personality.
Yeah.
But not so much nowadays.
Nah.
Like it's still there,
Yeah.
obviously, still enjoy it, but it's not like
Millennials
a
are
crutch.
funny like that, eh? Like we really did move away from alcohol. Like our generation's just like...
Well, because the generation before us was so...
And then so in our 20s we were real bad,
Yeah.
but it all got documented.
Yeah.
So we can still see the pictures on our Facebook
And we can
page.
actually like reflect on it and be like, that wasn't a good night.
There's video footage of me doing some fucked up shit.
There's haircuts, there's outfits. Yeah.
We're that first generation to like have documentation of our fuck ups.
Yeah,
from alcohol.
exactly. Yeah.
And I was hospo, so I drank heavily.
Yeah, I was
didn't pay for
retail.
it.
Not that, we drank Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah, every day.
Yeah.
Every day that ends in Y, actually.
Yeah. And like we'd go to work at we'd stay out 1 o'clock in the morning, be back at work at 6 o'clock in the morning. Like nothing happened.
And because in hospo, you don't pay for it.
Yeah.
Because you just drink it at work and then after work, and then you go out with the same workmates, and then you go back to work together the next morning.
Yeah. To be honest, I'm glad I banged it all out in my 20s.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, you got to go hard.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Because sometimes I look at like my uncles and I'm like, how are you still going? Like they have more Lion Red in them than they do blood.
Of course they drink Lion Red.
Yeah.
What else would they drink?
Yeah.
I love that. That's the best. Nah, cool. All right. Well, thank you so much. Actually, I am really grateful that you came on because, one, we really, like, as you saw, because everyone fucking squealed when you walked in the door, the whole team wanted to meet you, which is awesome. So that's fucking cool. We love your content, but also I didn't know how this conversation would go.
Yeah.
I was really interested to find out about Harper James and how you approach it.
Yeah.
And I think you're doing it actually really cool. Like, there's nothing for me as a businessman thinking about the way you're doing it. I wouldn't critique anything that you do. Like, I think you're crushing it because you're focused on brand, focused on long game.
Yeah.
And you're building both brands. Which is smart.
Yeah, and I feel like I want to build more of a community more than like a revenue stream.
Yeah, so smart. And I think for people watching this and when they see it, they should take that away. That it takes a long time, but if you just focus on brand and community, you'll always succeed.
I feel like everything else will follow and fall into place.
100%. Awesome.
Cool.
Thank you. Done.
Want to go for a drink?
We'll go get a coffee. I just moved from booze to coffee.
Boring.